Hi, I'm Lippy.
And I'm Grumpy. Together we're Lippy and Grumpy Do Podcasting. Now, Lippy.
Hello.
It's been a while.
It's been a long old time.
And before we trot out a whole load of excuses about where we've been, a big thank you to the Screaming Tomato and Dr. Zamboni, who both contacted me via different means, just checking we were okay. And we've been absolutely fine, but there's been quite a lot going on.
Yes.
So if we go back to September, which is the last one of these we did,
Gosh.
I had taken redundancy. And the one we were due to record, I would have been a couple of days into redundancy. And then something happened to you, didn't it?
I was made redundant.
Yes. So 2 days after I finished working, you were given notice, sadly from a company that you very much enjoyed working for. But the good news is you found a job quite quickly. Well, you did have a month off.
I had a month paid to do nothing.
Well, yeah, that's very true. And that slightly coincided with the Duck Whisperer.
Also getting...
Duck Boy. We've reverted. Duck Boy starting a new job and having
2 weeks off.
A month's garden
I think he had a month,
It was a month's garden leave, wasn't it? So there was a lot going on in September. You found a new job.
Yes. Very quickly, thankfully.
Yeah, but not surprising. You're sort of an asset to any company, and it's just been a bit fraught. So
it's been all over the place, really. And then Christmas.
Well, there was Christmas, yes, but that was sort of we were all ill just before Christmas, and with colds and stuff, and that went to my chest. So we fully planned on recording one of these on the 27th of December.
We did, didn't we? Yes.
And here we are a month later recording.
Yeah.
And that's purely because I couldn't hold a conversation without coughing, spluttering, and just sounded like I was smoking 40 Woodbine a day, which I don't. Anyway, if we go back to my redundancy, so I've been contacted when I knew I was going to be made redundant. I had 6 weeks working time. But unfortunately, I couldn't do anything until my last day at the previous job. And I've joined a startup, which has been... It's just brilliant. And I don't think I've ever been as busy in my life. People keep saying I'm retired, but it doesn't feel like it.
No. You didn't retire. You were made redundant.
Yes, I know, but people thought I was retiring because of the age.
You were made redundant.
No, I was made redundant. And so the company is called Data Compliance and Integrity, or DCI as it's known in short. And we look at systems, specifically wealth management systems, because we've all got that background. And we look at data inconsistencies. Now, some of these will be a potential FCA breach, so that's quite important. And some of them will just be clearing up the data. And these companies have an obligation to have up-to-date, correct data. So a couple of these we've turned on and we've generated millions and millions of errors, which is a bit daunting, to be honest. So we take a slightly staggered approach to it. But it's been an interesting journey the last few months. So, we're taking it from a startup where you sort of make things work to a grown-up company where we've got, it's more so that you can respond to people's needs. We've got a plan for developing. We've got additional source systems coming into the fray as well. It's very, very interesting time. And I was musing about it earlier. It's odd how some of the stuff you curse when you're an employee, you go, actually, that's a really good idea when you're a part of the business. So my grown-up title is Chief Technology Officer, but don't let that fool you.
The most grown-up title I think I've ever heard you have.
Well, it is, because I've avoided any sorts of responsibility for the last 40 years. And although it sounds very grand, I am a chief. Although it sounds grand, I am still writing code and sorting out stuff. So nothing's really changed, just
well, you don't have many employees yet as a chief.
No, we don't. We don't have any employees, actually. We're working for the love of it. But I have had a massive increase in spam email since putting that on LinkedIn. It's It's a colossal amount.
Those recruiters and salespeople, you'll be
Well, it seems to be
targeted.
for all sorts. It's for cloud, it's for governance. Actually, it's very few in terms of recruiting. I had a few on LinkedIn to begin with, but I get many, many emails now, which is a bit annoying. So redundancy is interesting. And back in September, found a little thing from a chap called Chris Donnelly, who I don't know, but it was talking about leadership. And both you and I were made redundant because of a desire to increase profit. And mine was through a company called McKinsey, which apparently is a very well-known hatchet job company, let's put it that way. And I'm in the process of reading a book about them, and it's not good. It really is. And the guy that came up with the idea of linking profit to CEOs' bonuses regrets it, basically, because we've ended up where you just cut people. And you take, people like you that really enjoyed your job.
Yeah.
All of a sudden not working there. And I think that's quite bad.
But not also enjoyed my job, had my manager and senior leadership fighting for me not to be on the list.
Absolutely. And
was still on the
interestingly,
list.
the hatchet man went, didn't he, shortly after
He
you?
did a week after I went.
Yeah.
So that says a lot.
It does really, doesn't it? Yeah. So anyway, it's a list of leadership green flags, and I think we can both agree that the so-called leaders we had recently have had very few of these, if any at all. So take an interest in your life outside of work. Never schedule meetings over lunch. That is such a big one.
Oh, that is such a big red flag.
They ask for your ideas. They ask you for feedback on the company's culture. They follow up or action the feedback that you give. And the company I work for, they had this big culture survey every year. And you put stuff down there and you know nothing's going to happen. They'll pick 2 or 3 things. They give every room they walk into a burst of energy. I'm not sure that's necessarily a good thing, particularly if it's
Depends
toilet.
what type of energy.
Yeah, quite.
If it's terror typing,
Yes,
that's
quite.
still energy,
yes.
but that's not the positive energy.
It's the energy of fear. And they get stuck in with day to day when needed, set boundaries and respect yours in return. I think that's really important with more people working at home, that there is a cut-off point. They praise in public, discipline in private, transparent about their plans, share the rewards of the business success, and give credit when it's due. And I think those are all very good qualities of somebody that's a leader rather than a manager or process manager. So something to think about. And I was thinking earlier today, about 20 years ago, there was a chap in Australia that worked for Floyd passed away, and I cannot for the life of me remember his name. But his talent, he worked in the sort of special engineering office, was keeping all the corporate nonsense away from the people that worked for him so they could get on and create some really awesome automotive stuff. And whether it's engines or parts of the car or whatever, he just kept that all away, all the nonsense away, so they could just get on and deal with it. And very, very few people are able to do that, which is a real shame. Anyway, going back to September, we did have a little bit of feedback from, unsurprisingly, the Screaming Tomato and Davros. And I can't remember what we talked about in September, but I think we must have talked about Formula One, because Screaming Tomato said, I like the old days when there was still a race. Yeah, that's quite right.
Yes.
Nicky Lauda, James Hunt, Nelson Piquet, and so on. And when Senna came on, I was already on the way out. I'm surprised at that. I quite liked the Senna era, although he was very dominant. So
I'm a bit young for that.
You're way too young for that, yes.
Yeah. I think the problem with Formula One is it ebbs and flows. So you'll have, like when Lewis Hamilton first came in, and well, not first came in, but won his first championship, and the racing was amazing. And then the racing was amazing when he was fighting Max. And now Max is dominating. It just kind of, there's always a couple of seasons where there is one person that dominates, and you have to just either not watch those seasons or push through and wait for the next person to come and start rivaling him. And then it turns back into good races that you want to see.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, there's always been a bit of dominance by one team or another, for as long as I've been watching it. And it's because teams, they work out there's a mechanical advantage somewhere, and they take full advantage of that. There's too many advantages there. But I think it's become too much. I can't remember who I saw writing about it. It's too much people that are there for the glamour, not for the sport.
Yes, it has. With Drive to Survive, that's really picked up.
That's really pushed it on. But I mean, the couple of instances with Martin Brundle in the pits with people that, I mean, Martin doesn't suffer.
That's the best part of the race.
Well, I think you're probably right. Just have the grid.
Just watch Martin try and talk to people. He doesn't know what who they are. Or people not want to talk to him, not knowing who he is, which is that's bad if you don't know who Martin Brundle is.
Well, quite. I mean, he's been around for so long. And we've had a couple of ideas in the past about snakes in the car and water sprinklers that come up. But maybe weight penalties like they do with touring cars. And the sad thing is there's lots better racing from a spectator's point of view that's available. Which is a real shame because it should be the pinnacle, but I think it's the pinnacle of engineering and technology, not spectacle.
Yeah.
Anyway, we must have talked about odd names as well in September because the Screaming Tomato says, my family follows some of my names for popular restaurants, which are a combination of opposites and spoonerisms. So Pizza Hut becomes Heats a Putt. A local restaurant, Hungry Jack's, becomes Ravenous George, which I quite like.
I like that.
Yeah. Other people have no idea what we're talking about. Are we alone in this habit? No, you're not, Screaming Tomato, but you do take it to the back sometimes. Yeah. We did have a welcome back Grippy and Lumpy, talking about spoonerisms from...
Grippy and Lumpy.
Yeah, it was Davros.
I hope I don't know which one I'd rather be in that scenario. I don't want to be Lumpy.
Yes, I don't know. And he's come back with a whole load of things that are just unrepeatable on here. So thank you, Davros, but we won't be repeating any of those. Now, my notes for September had a pup date on our Australian Labradoodle Floyd, and I put managing stairs and eating laces. Well, obviously, he's a bit beyond that.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
He's completely beyond that. So he's, coming up for 7 months old. And I can't believe the rate at which puppies grow.
Mad. He's a dog now. He looks like a dog.
He's a full-on dog. He had a haircut a few weeks ago.
Looks lovely.
Yes, looks much better. Fluff had gone. And about half the size he was before he went to the groomers. So. Quite a lot of fur came off.
I feel like he looks a lot taller now as well because his hair isn't touching the floor.
He does, but his legs have grown in the last week or so. So we've got a yardstick, which is the coffee table in our lounge, and his back is just above that now.
It's how far his nose can get to the middle of the table.
Oh, well, he rests his chin on the table now, just looking, see what's on there. So you can't have anything that's grabbable. See if he can spot any
tissues.
Tissues are his favourite, but he'll grab anything. He ate my earplugs last week from the bedside cabinet, where I got up in a hurry and not put them in and we found that in
We did find those again.
We did, didn't we? Yes. But I washed them off and they're fine. So that's...
No.
No, I didn't. No, I definitely didn't.
Oh.
So they really will eat anything, and he's turning into a great dog. We've been out for a walk this morning, a bit frosty, and it was lovely. It was quiet. You could hear the birds. The geese woke up, and they make a hell of a racket, and he's quite perturbed by those because he can't see them. He can hear them. And they fly over the house generally twice a day, and he can hear them and just... not sure what they are.
Not impressed.
Well, not impressed. He's curious because I could hear that, but I can't see it. So we had a good old walk this morning, which was nice. And he likes meeting other dogs. Not all the other dogs like meeting. So he's very slowly learning that lesson.
He's not quite learnt, has he? That not everyone is friendly and wants to say hello.
No, absolutely not. And that is his biggest distraction. If he sees another dog, that's his sole focus. So if you try and get him back, he doesn't come back. So we've got him on a long 20-metre lead now for recall training.
Yes.
And it's coming on, but it's the puppy instinct takes over, which you can understand.
It's the distraction, isn't it? You have to find something that snaps him out of the hyper focus of oh, I'm looking at a dog, I'm looking at a dog.
Yeah. So we've got a dog whistle, and that does do it a bit. But it will work once or twice, and then he goes, oh, no, I know what that is.
That's not as interesting as the dog.
It's definitely not as interested in the dog or the rabbit poo that I've now discovered over the playing fields.
Lovely.
Quite like that. So, yeah, so we're blessed with an area called Knoll Park, which is put in as part of housing development in Cranley, and it's just beautiful. It's a big lake there, lots of paths, and it's a great place to go with a dog or children,
It's lovely,
or just for a
actually.
walk. It is really nice. And in 10 years' time, they've just planted 2,500 trees. So in 10 years' time, it's kind of like fabulous, and it'll be good living through
Good
those
asset.
10 years. It is a good asset, but it would be great to live through those years. And I've started taking photos every time I go there for the same spot, so we can see it mature, which would be nice. Oh, yes. So remember I said there's no way the dog would sleep on our bed.
I do, but that was a while ago now.
It was
I'm
a
pretty
while
sure
ago.
I said that wouldn't last long.
No, it didn't last long. Or the reason I said no is because we've had cats before, and they'll go anywhere. You can't, unless you shut them
Yes,
out,
yeah.
and then they just claw the carpet to pieces. So the cats would come in, and then they'd sort of go out at some point during the night for a wander around, and come back in again, and then jump on you and walk across your head and
Yeah.
just do
Want a
everything
bit of
they can.
attention.
Well, they just do anything to annoy you, really. It's they're a real pain in the neck at night. But the dog climbs on the bed. Sometimes I don't know he's on the bed. You wake up and you think, blimey, my legs feel really hot. And there's a because
Dog
he's
right
standing next to you, and he gets a bit too warm when he gets off. So he's no real bother, to be honest, and it's quite. It's quite nice that he wants to do that. I think come the summer he won't.
It'll be too hot
It'll
for
be
him.
far too warm. Well, actually, come the spring, let alone the summer. So, so never say never.
I don't think there's anything that dog doesn't do.
No, we've had a bit of problem with when Wife of Grumpy goes to play golf.
Oh yeah, he wants to go.
He whines a lot. But it's odd, it corresponded with him not eating very much. We discovered we got some new food and he just didn't like it. So we've got him, we mixed two different sorts of food on advice from a vet friend of ours. So we went to the one that we have been feeding him and he's been woofing it down again.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
I think
good.
we had a few days where he wasn't eating properly.
So he was a bit sad, a bit hungry.
Yeah, just a bit miserable, really.
Poor Floyd.
Yeah, poor Floyd. Yes. But he's back to we've got back, he's eaten his breakfast. He's now sucking away at a frozen peanut butter Kong.
Oh,
which is,
nice.
So he's disappeared off with that. So all's good with the world again.
Yeah. And he has his little doorbell for if he needs a wee.
Yes. Well, that's thrown a bit of a fit, actually. That just rings on its own now.
Oh,
I think there's something wrong with the.
Are you sure it's on its
button.
own, or is there a ghost pushing that button?
No. Well, there might well be. Might be a ghost pushing it. Who knows? But the button bit was operating, and then it would go ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, and then it would stop. And you go down there, he's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, he's
Or
he's
the
probably
door's
upstairs
open.
like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah, he does like lying in. Oh, if he can sleep until 9:30, he will do. Without any problem whatsoever. So,
Yeah.
a 7:45 walk this morning was a bit of a shock.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
Anyway, our plan for Lippy and Grumpy is carry on.
Yes.
Now we've
back.
got back into the swing of it.
What's the phrase? What's the saying from Harry Potter? He's back. That's us.
Oh, no, I wouldn't.
Do you not know?
Yeah.
You know when? You know in I can't remember which one it is. The one after all the games.
I think I stopped watching after the games one because I found that one was a bit rushy. It seemed to
Yeah,
just
they
be
tried to fit a
rushing.
lot into
Yeah.
that one. So then the next one, it's the first time the Minister of Magic sees Voldemort, and he just goes,
Okay.
"He's back."
I do vaguely remember that. But
Duckboy and I say that phrase all the time.
oh, do you? Referring to whom?
Just random things,
Oh, okay.
like things coming back on the telly.
Oh, talking of which, by the time you listen to this, The Apprentice would have been on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it would have
Tuesday?
been on. It's on Thursday. I think it's
Thursdays.
the first, which is the first. Yes, and having looked at the candidates, there was an interesting number that answered the question, what's your biggest business fail with? I'd never fail. So they are top of the list for cannon fodder in my view.
Yep, agree. I'm interested for the Battle of the Pie Men. There are two pie owners.
Yeah.
Not pie owners, because anyone could be a pie owner, but a pie company owner.
Yes, that will be interesting. I think what we should do is on Tuesday, each predict a winner.
Oh, okay, yeah. After we've seen the first episode. Yeah, okay. See, I did that last time, and was it last year when they were all awful? Like, it got to the final stage, and I was like, no one deserves to win this. But there was a girl earlier on who got fired for the stupidest thing, who I thought should have won, and I think if he got to do it again, he probably wouldn't have fired her for the really stupid thing.
Okay.
I think she made a spelling mistake.
Oh, yes.
And she was... Yeah, and her two teammates didn't tell her she spelt it wrong.
Yeah. You see, I
she
think
was
they
the only
need
one that fired for it.
I've said this before, I think they need to bring it more up to date. I think they need to be able to use the internet.
Yeah, no one spells things anymore.
Well,
thank God for my dyslexia.
Yeah, but there are a number of people, you and I included, that have trouble spelling for whatever reason. Yours is dyslexia, mine is just pure stupidity.
Well, yours is probably dyslexia as well, to be honest.
And I rely on typing into Google what I think is how you spell the word sometimes to get it, and it's just the way it is. And
I ask Siri because I can say the word, I just can't spell it.
Yes, that's true. Ironically, it's better if I see it.
Oh yeah, he brings it up on the screen for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't type it as he's talking, but he brings it up and I can read it and type it.
No, which is odd when you think about it, because sometimes I'll read something and the letters have jumped all over the place, and I'll get the words wrong, which is why I read most things twice at least. But then when you want a spelling, I need to read it to spell it, not listen to it.
Yes.
Which you think would be the other way around. It's bizarre.
And half the time I can't read half the words anyway.
There's something really messed up there.
Yeah. I am slightly addicted to TikTok, unfortunately. But it's the 30-second videos that just get me. Anyway, so I spend hours on that. But last night, I was doing my little routine. Just before I go to bed, I watch a few TikToks. And there was a lady on there doing, I think she called it like the vegetable dyslexic test. And it was 3 questions. And the first one was, what is the word kale backwards, but using the sounds, not the letters?
Oh, my word.
So how would you say kale backwards, just using the sounds?
Elat.
Yeah, that's what I said. But that's using the letters.
Kale. I don't know. Seems a stupid exercise.
Lake. Yeah, because it's kale, lake, because it's using the sounds, not the letters. Yeah. So I did the same as you. I was like, Elec. And I was quite happy with that.
Yeah. Well, I'd stop listening to that one.
Well, there was 2 more, which I won't say because they were all as hard as each other. And she goes, if you said lake, 5 and something else, then you probably don't have dyslexia. If you had an issue with even one of these, you do. And I couldn't do any of them. I was like, I forget sometimes how dyslexic I am. Yeah,
but it's this, and I've banged on about this many times. It's a simple test or one figure to represent whether something is true or not, and that's not the case, because that is such an odd thing to do. Mm-hmm. It's not something you would do on a day-to-day basis, and I think diagnosing dyslexia on the basis you can't say kale backwards is. Well, many
I think
organisations.
It was an indicator that you could have.
Well, an indicator is, but maybe. But I struggle with these things.
I remember one more dyslexic comment. I remember having my dyslexic test. I don't remember it very well, but I do remember having it. And I remember feeling like I was doing a really good job and I was being really intelligent and I didn't have dyslexia. But that's how they make you feel, because they're very encouraging when you're doing the test. And very nice, obviously, because they just want you to keep going and do what you think is right and not what they think you want to put. So, I remember thinking I was really intelligent and then finding out I wasn't.
Yes, it's a bit like these, I can't think what they call them, the tests they sometimes have with a job interview. where they ask you some
personality tests.
Yeah, there's another name I've heard, but I can't think what it is. And they ask you some very odd questions, and but apparently they're certainly for computer software developers. They're
MAT testing, is that it?
Oh god, psychometric testing.
Yes, psychometric testing.
Yeah, apparently it's quite good.
Yeah, we used to do that at my old company. I used to get to send and read the tests, which was hilarious. And people would score 0 and they'd still hire them.
Yes. So the one place I remember doing this, they said we don't use it as a yes or no, but we do consider it, which seemed a bit odd. Why bother?
So. And no one understood the results. Even like didn't really understand the results.
No.
Like no one knew really what they meant. They were paying money to have this test done, and then everyone was a bit like, oh, okay, so yeah, they got that. Cool.
Well, again, what we want is hire them or don't hire them. Our answer out of that. But it's a complicated thing. It can't do that.
No, it gives you tips on how to manage someone with those traits or those results. Sorry, I just put a banana in my mouth. It was really bad timing. Right,
okay then, Nippy. Well, we're going to knock this one on the head, and then we're going to carry on and record the next one.
Yes.
Which will be out in... Oh, I can't look at calendars now. So the one you're listening to will have been out on the
2nd of February.
2nd
No,
of
the
February.
1st. No, the 2nd. The 2nd.
2nd of February. Friday
and then the
2nd.
16th.
16th, thank you. You're a good secretary. Well done. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
You can help spread Lippy and Grumpy's view on life by leaving a review on your favourite podcast platform.
If you're not sure how to leave a review, or if you download from Spotify, there's some help at lippyandgrumpy.uk/review.
And if you would like to get in touch, email podcast@lippyandgrumpy.uk.
So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.